Everybody, this is Martin Steed. And when you are thinking of a sister with superpowers, here at a seat at the table, I am bringing you someone who is dynamic. Tequila Smith has that understanding about power. And there is an energy of power, a source of power, and a role that power plays in our lives. And I am so proud of Miss Smith. Hello, Tequila Smith. Welcome to
Hi,
the
Watson.
table. So how you
Thank
been?
you. I'm fantastic. Excited to be here. Thank you guys for thinking of me.
When you think of power and energy and the role that it plays in our lives, what are some of the first thoughts you think of given all of your responsibilities? And if you share your title, we'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'll start with my title, Vice President of Corporate Sustainability for Georgia Power. So, what does that mean? I am responsible for the development and tracking of our company's vision to build a clean, sustainable energy future. So, I'm excited to be here and being an engineer by training. When I think about energy, and superpowers, it's all about positive energy. Not that you're going to have a perfect day, not that things are going to not going to go wrong, but net positive. Negative things will happen, but we got to focus on exuding the power and the energy that we want to receive.
Beautiful. When you think of the value proposition that having a career as a woman in engineering, what has that empowered you to be able to do in ways that you never imagined when you were sitting in class, trying to make sure that you really
Wow.
go past that test, and knowing that you're really just testing the intellectual muscle inside yourself?
Oh, that's a great question. I will tell you, Munson, it wasn't easy. So back in the day when I was taking undergraduate courses in engineering, there weren't a lot of sisters. And so when you receive that test score, you flip it over and it's not quite the score you expected, and you've studied all night until the wee hours of the morning. It's disappointing. So one of the things I would share is that we have to learn to be resilient, and we have to learn to be our own cheerleaders sometimes, because you can look to the left and you can look to the right and nobody looks like you. It's discouraging. And so at that time, you have to figure out, okay, it's just you, girl. You got to shake it off and you got to do better. And I will tell you that oftentimes I had to retake tests, I had to retake courses. So it was different because I was a really good student in high school, but college was all new. It was a brand new ball game. And so I encourage young ladies to, if you fall down, get back up.
When you think about the difficulty in really learning something at the next level in a competitive space, what should you know when you, as a sister, are not there with a lot of other sisters or brothers, but it's important that you make your mark and be, at the top of your game? Why retake the test? Why retake the class? And what does that say about your personal sustainability? What kind of energy, what kind of things does it take to do that?
I would say, first of all, you have to know that it's not going to be easy. If there was an easy path to mechanical engineering, then I feel like a lot more people would conquer it. So I think foundationally, knowing that it's not easy. And for a lot of us, we just skip through high school, we skip through our standardized tests. Life is great. We get to college, we're ready to party. And I think the wake up call for me was I had to buckle down. And even in that month, and when I buckled down and I still didn't make the grade that I wanted, it was a reality check. So what got me to the ME program wasn't necessarily the same steps I would need to take to be successful in the program. So I think, first of all, acknowledging that you might have to do things differently. Second of all, you got to make your priorities straight. You got to prioritize studying and making sure that you are giving yourself time to be your best self. And then thirdly, I asked for help. I never had to do that before. And so I get to college, I had to go to tutoring. I had to raise my hand and say, I don't understand that. And I had to visit with my professors outside of the course. And it was difficult for me because, again, I thought I could handle it myself. And so I think the takeaway for sisters out there is don't be afraid to ask for help.
So, in the roles that you've had, when you think about power and being, now you're a mechanical engineer, you could piece together any item, you can put together items, but you pick a path where you are on this energy industry, which is huge.
Yeah.
People complain about their power bills, people complain about their gas bills, they complain about fuel, but it's an industry that is huge.
Yeah.
Sustainable energy, solar
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah.
What should we know about and how should we think of this industry differently? If you could share a few tidbits on how we should see the energy future and industry profession.
Absolutely. First of all, we should see ourselves in it. Oftentimes we consider our utility as this, corporate giant that we write a check to every day. And I think what makes Georgia Power unique is that we're here to serve the community. And in order to do that, we want the community to see themselves in the work. And so when you're thinking about a sustainable future, it could be anything as you want to be in a STEM career. You could be an accountant and work at Georgia Power. You could be an attorney. We even have nurses and doctors through our wellness program. And so, first of all, I would say picture yourself a part of the company, a part of the solution. And then moving forward, it's not just about paying the power bill, it's a part of being a part of the culture and the community. And so through workforce development, our partnerships with our HBCUs, we are also in the classroom in K through 12. There's a lot of opportunity. And so I think it's my goal in the sustainability message is to make sure that when you see us, you see yourselves.
So, if you had to turn back and give a speech at an Alabama state um, about a commencement speech, about why you needed to embrace both engineering your life and engineering a future in the energy business, what would you say?
Well, I came from a very modest background. And so I wanted a career that was going to help catapult or change my path. And so honestly, I looked at those careers. I didn't want to be a doctor. I didn't want to be an attorney. I knew I was very good in STEM, so engineering, math, and science. And so I looked at careers that I thought could help change my life and help create generational opportunity for my future children. And so oftentimes, because of our immediate environment, whether it's our teachers or our mentors, they tell us, choose this path. That's what your dad did, or that's what your mom did, or that's what your cousin did. But sometimes our path is completely different from anything we've ever seen. So in my commencement speech to young graduates, I would say, create your own path. Visualize the life that you want and find someone that can help you get there. Obstacles will come, but keep going. So, in order for me to know that there was life outside of Holt, Alabama, which is a small town outside of Tuscaloosa, I had a cousin who invested in me. And honestly, Munson, it wasn't that she did anything spectacular, according to her. She would come and pick me up in the summers. As we say, go down south. She would come down south and pick me up and just expose me to life outside of my dirt roads. And so, if I could inspire young men and women to say there is more to life than how you start, the zip code that you are born in doesn't dictate the zip code that you have to stay in. And it's not that anything's wrong with your zip code because you can come back and make it better for the next generation. So the takeaway is create your own path, dream big, be seen, be heard.
Thank you. When you want to make a difference in your, obviously, a sister with superpower in a leadership role, um, can you share things about decision making
Mhm.
that you've had to deal with in your career?
Absolutely. So when you think about decision making, I would say the first thing to do is pause. I think for sisters, we're so uh, just excited to get things done, check things off the task list. But what has helped me in decision making is to be patient and to really understand your surroundings, to understand your audience, to understand what's the critical path in a project, what's the critical path in that decision, what are the different potential outcomes, what are the consequences that come with making these decisions, who are the players, what are their angles. So I would say, if nothing else, when it comes to decision making, be collaborative, but not only be collaborative, put yourself in your partner's shoes, in your teammate's shoes, because I think that will exude greater leadership. It's not about just getting it done, because we can get it done and have dead bodies laying around. So it's not only about the what, but more importantly, it's about the how.
Man, that is so wonderful, very insightful. I think that decision making is for anybody that you just described. Thank you so much. Um, for all of those contributions that Black women are making and have made, who inspires you in history in our society? What are your top two or three go to?
Oh, everything else has been fairly easy. First and foremost, and not to sound too cliche like, but our former First Lady, Michelle Obama, is the person that motivates me. I think she is brilliant. She's graceful. She's kind. She's a mother. I mean, I think she's just a rock star, the way she supports President Obama to the fullest. I'm just in awe of her. It makes me emotional to talk about her because I think she's a sister's sister. What do I mean by that? She's relatable. She's touchable, right? So she was in the White House getting these massive strategies deployed across United States, but she was never too high on herself. She never forgot where she came from. She was always talking about the South Side of Chicago, and so that's what I strive to be. Like I want to continue to elevate in my career, but more importantly, I want to motivate sisters to never think too much of yourself, that you forget about where you came from and that you can't help the next sister. That's that's why I view former First Lady in such a light, because she is all that, but she's also the type of woman, if you see on the train or the MARTA, she's going to talk to you.
I love that. When we talk about careers and energy, and you think about young brothers and sisters who are really trying to figure out, how do I get a job, and what should I know about sustainability and the future, like those job titles, if you
Mhm.
would. Like, what are those job titles at a nuclear plant? What are the job titles, at solar? What should they be thinking of? Because it's not any of the things that you read off. It's not just engineering. What are those job titles? Because they seem that they're new job titles for the whole
Yeah.
industry. Can you share a few?
Absolutely. So for many years, I led our team that operated solar plants. And so there's a lot of opportunity there. One of the job titles is solar operation technician. And so those are the individuals, male and female, who are out in the solar array that are looking at how to make sure this plant stays operational. So there are maintenance requirements that are needed to make sure that the plant, as we say it internally, stays online, right? So with any power plant, there's an opportunity for failure. And so how you negate that, you try to make sure that regular maintenance is performed. There's also an opportunity to be a lineman or a line worker. In that case, if you see like the Georgia Power trucks out in the community and you might see someone in a bucket truck, those are our linemen. There are field service reps. We have customer service reps. There are also opportunities for not only engineering, accounting, those corporate jobs, but we have safety and health officials. So for those of you that are really interested in environmental health and safety, we also have regulatory teams that interact with our Public Service Commission. We have legislative affairs. Those are the individuals that are really good communicators, and they spend a lot of time at the Capitol really helping our public officials understand the role that we play throughout the state of Georgia.
I know that you have a superpower, probably about 20. I define a sister with superpowers, a sister that creates a safe space with benefits for others.
Mhm.
If you had to describe the safe space that you're creating for others, what would you describe that? And what do you think the benefits are?
So when I'm describing a safe space for sisters, imagine an environment where we can just let our hair down. It's an environment where I'm sharing my flaws. I'm sharing the opportunities that I didn't get right. I'm sharing the times where I had to receive really hard feedback. I'm talking about the kind of feedback that stung, that you think about well after the conversation is over. And so the point of sharing trials and not just triumphs, it humanizes us, right? It shows our authenticity, and it creates an environment where sisters can relax. And so when you build trust, you build credibility. And so you keep working at it so that if something is really bothering a sister, she can come and say, this doesn't feel right to me, or here's a mistake that I made. How do I overcome it? Or before I go into this meeting, what do you think I should say in this presentation? I think it's not optional. Like, as African American female leaders, we have to be there for the younger generations. We have to create a space that, hey, whatever I say in this bubble, I really need it to stay in this bubble. And I offer advice, but more importantly, once and I try to offer my experiences so that sisters understand this is real. Been there, done that, still trying to figure it out. I'm not perfect, nowhere near it, but here's how I would handle it. And so I provide my stories so that sisters can take that and mold it and say, okay, it wasn't the exact same situation, but I appreciate, that you were patient, and I appreciate it that you used wisdom to make the decision. I appreciate that you took the emotion out of the decision making. And so I think that's what we owe the younger generations, to be authentic and to be available and share some of the things that we've gone through.
Thank you. When you look at the very vision that you have on your path now, um, and you are thinking, 20 years down the road, um, if you had to write your biography, who would you have write it? And if you had to have an actress play you, who would that be?
Oh my God. Okay. So let's start with the author. Probably Maya Angelou, because she could take words and make magic. She can say, the dog jumped over the fence, and you can see it. You can see the spots on the dog. You can see the sun shining in. I just love how she could take words and turn them into a reality. Who would play me? So I am a huge fan of Gabrielle Union. Everybody knows me knows that. I think we are the same person. And so I just think there's a light. We started this conversation about energy. There's an energy about that sister. She has a smile that is golden. She just lights up a room, and I appreciate that about her. Like, I love to laugh. I love to relax. I love to be in a safe space. And when I see her, and I haven't met her in person, but what I see, what I feel like she exudes is an opportunity to just be real. Like, I love that she laughs. I love that, she hangs out with her husband. I love that she makes fun of him in a very loving way. So if I could pick one, I would like for Gabrielle Union to be the leading actress in my story.
Well, that's great. When you think about that, and obviously for your husband, who would play him?
Ooh, Michael B. Jordan.
Oh,
One, because my husband works out every day. So he fits the mold. Like he would give Michael B. Jordan a run for his money, no doubt. But I also feel like, particularly as Michael B. Jordan has moved more behind the camera, he puts a lot of thought into the characters. Like I've just finished watching some of the episodes of, I think, Raising Dion, and I love the fact that he has a little African American boy that's a superhero, and I love that. As young people watch that, they can see themselves in that light, because for so long we didn't see ourselves on the screen. So absolutely, I would love for Michael B. Jordan to be the leading man.
Uh-oh, so now I got Gabrielle Union and Michael B. Jordan starring in your life. Um, when you close out a day and you're really saying for all those sisters looking to understand why vacation and self-care are
Mhm.
part of your greatness, what would the reasons be that you see it necessary for self-care and balance in your career and in your life?
That's a great question. First of all, our mental health is number one. I was reading a couple of articles that talked about the strong Black woman, the resilient Black woman, and that's great. But sometimes we don't want to be strong. Sometimes we just want to be. And so I would say to all the sisters out there, before you can bring your best self to class, to work, to your family, you gotta build yourself up. So I don't know if that's reading a good book, that's sitting in the dark and listening to a little R&B, or if you're more of a hip hop girl, that's fine. Lighting a candle, journaling, but we have to take the time to rejuvenate, to renew. And I really feel like a frequent practice of mindfulness and understanding who we are de-stresses a lot of aspects of our life. When you know who you are and whose you are, you stand more confidently, you speak more clearly, you have a vision, and the things that are happening around you no longer affect us the way they used to. But if we don't take the time to take care of our physical health and our mental health, then we'd be all over the place. We'd let triggers like a computer not starting properly just get us off our game. But when we've taken the time, we've had our cup of coffee, we've done our morning meditations, we've listened to our music, we are centered, then we can exude the energy that we were meant to exude.
Uh, Superpower, beautiful, powerful insight. Um, Tequila Smith, I really appreciate you being here to see the table, being a sister with superpower. Last question, and this one might be a little funny. If you were whispering in your younger self's ear down in hope and could tell her how big her future would be now, what would
Mhm.
you tell her?
I would say tequila, or as my mom would call me, chi, it will be fine. I would tell myself to learn to trust God a lot earlier than I did, because it took me about 10 years or so in corporate America to stop chasing the carrot, like the titles, the roles, the levels. I would say it will be fine. Trust the process, trust who you are, don't doubt yourself. If I could have told her that, I still feel like the path and the ride would be great, but I just think she would have been a bit more calmer. She would have started practicing mindfulness a few years earlier, and she wouldn't let little things knock her or her confidence. So I would say it will be fine.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've met a sister with superpower, Tequila Smith. I'm Munson Steed at a seat at the table. Thank you so much, Miss Smith, you and Georgia Power for both being a huge member of the community and having and introducing sisters with superpower like yourself to play a role in our community. So thanks to both you and Georgia
Absolutely.
Power. I'm Munson Steve for a seat at the table. And remember, you can power and you are the power in your own light. So power your sail, power your boat, power your life each and every day. I'm Munson Steve, and it's been great hanging out with Tequila Smith.